Yo, yo, yo! What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're working once again on our Arc Raiders loot helper. So the idea here is I'm obsessed with Arc Raiders. I've been playing so much, it's a problem. But one of the things that you do in Arc Raiders is you like go up to the surface, you collect a bunch of materials, you use those materials to build better gear, and then you use that gear to get more materials without dying, right? And so there's a lot of stuff in the game, right? Like hand wavy about this much stuff that you can pick up. And you don't really need all of it for everything, right? Some of it's used to craft like bad stuff, some of it's crafted to make good stuff, whatever. And so if I am kind of running like a similar loadout every time, right? I'm bringing the fucking styling here is kind of broken a little bit, but uh, I'm bringing like a purple shield and a couple blue guns and maybe a couple arc grenades or whatever, and a couple blue band-aids, a couple green band-aids, whatever. This is stuff I want to like craft on every run. This is kind of what I need to make that hand wavy. So we're like walking the tree of crafting. So like maybe a purple shield. Oh fuck! When I click it, I forgot it removes it from the list. When I make like a purple shield, it's made up of like a power rod and something, and then the power rod is made up of some arc circuitry, and the arc circuitry is made up of arc alloy. And so we're kind of saying like, if you were to walk to the bottom of the tree, write down everything that you see along the way, this is kind of like the stuff that we want in our backpack, right? This is the stuff that we want in the stash to do crafting. Maybe you don't need all of these things because some of them are duplicated because they can be turned into other things, right? But this is about the stuff that we'd be looking for. And so what I want to do is I kind of want to say, when I'm out and about, what is like the most important thing for me to pick up? And we're kind of missing part of the picture here, because part of the picture here is that there's a lot of stuff in the world that will like recycle or salvage into these things, right? So if I'm looking for like oil, then I'll probably want to be able to pick up like arc coolant or something. And maybe it makes sense for me to carry the arc coolant back to my house so that I can recycle it and get like good value out of it. Or maybe it makes sense in the context of me trying to make specifically these items for me to salvage it in the field, because like the amount of oil I would get is about the same, and then I can like stack it better in my inventory and stuff like that. So today's topic is I want to figure out, before we look at like all the recycling and scrapping and all that stuff, I think trying to figure out what things we need most right now is we want to like score how much we need each of these things. So then once we know how much we need, how much do we need springs versus metal parts, that can tell us how we should prioritize recycling and salvaging later. That's kind of the idea. And so what we have right now is we have like these like little sliders that let us configure how many of each of these like base material we have, right? So maybe I have like I have like 1,000 metal right now. I probably have like 10 medium parts or something. I probably have like a few crude of oil. I probably only have like 5 processors, maybe only like 4 or 5. I think I have like 2 voltage converters, right? And so the idea here is that I want to kind of walk through how much each of these things I have, and figure out how to use that information to sort what I need to pick up, right? It's pretty clear to me that like if I have a lot of metal, I don't need more metal, right? But like how we figure that out is not 100% clear to me. So I think part 1 of today's stream is kind of just figuring out how we want to solve this problem of how do we find what is most relevant for us to pick up. And then we can implement it. So that's kind of like the whole plan. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a non-trivial problem to solve, right? Because like there's like this like crafting tree, right? Where you have like, I have like metal, and maybe metal can be used to make like mechanical components, and also maybe like something else. I don't know. Like, let's just say, for the sake of it, like springs. I don't think this is true. But like, metal can be used to make many things, and these things are both used in something else. And so like how we allocate our metal between these two things might require some complex thought. right? I wouldn't be shocked if it turns out that we need to like the right way to solve this problem would be to pull in some sort of like iterative solver or something like that. But I think that we should try solving it without one first, and maybe we'll find out that it's okay. So right now we have like quantities of each of these things, right? And we also have like quantities of we know what they're made of, right? So we know in our data that a Rattler 4, or maybe I want Renegade 4, we know that when we craft this thing, we need one Renegade 3, 2 advanced mechanical components, and 2 medium gun parts. And so I think that if we just try to, like, for each thing in this list, we just, like, walk through them and try to make them. And we, like, pull from whatever resources below that we need. So, like, as we're trying to make a Renegade 4, we'll be like, okay, we will pull 2 mechanical components. And if we don't have 2 mechanical components, we'll, like, try to make these. And then if we don't have medium gun parts, we'll try to make those. And I think that as we, like, keep pulling from our stash of stuff, eventually we'll get to the point where we can't make something. I think. And so that's kind of like the limit of how many loadouts we can make, right? If we assume that this loadout is fixed, and like every time we make one gun, we also need to make 5 band-aids. If we assume that that's true, I think we'll like eventually run out of something there. And then I think that if you kept going, right? So I like try to make, let's say I try to make a durable cloth or something. Right? I try to make so many durable cloth, I eventually don't have enough fabric to make one. But I can still make everything else. I think that if we just allow ourselves to go into the negative in our like stash of fabric, right? So we start here and we say, I have 289 fabric. And eventually we like run out. And I think that if we just keep going into the negatives, if we keep going until every single item that we would pull from has 0 or less, I think that the negative magnitude of how many things we have left is a kind of the priority, right? So like if we're say we just like make this load, say the only thing, let's make like, can we make the problem simple right now? Let's say that we are trying to make green bandages. That's the only thing we care about right now. So green bandages are made up of one durable cloth and one little plant, right? And let's say that we have zero plants, but we do have like, I don't know, 34 fabric. Or, sorry, 28 fabric? That's a better answer here. 28 fabric, right? So I think what will happen here is as we try to make this thing, we're going to like try to make a durable cloth. We won't be able to. Or sorry, we'll try to make one durable cloth and we'll go, okay, so we'll pull 14 from the fabric. And so then we'll have like 14 fabric, one durable cloth. And then when we try to make this bandage, we'll like use the durable cloth and one of these plants, but we don't have any of the plants. So this plant value will be like -1. And so I think that like based off of like how much stuff we have here, if we start with 28 fabric, we'll kind of end up saying that we don't really need to look for fabric at all to make this thing right now. If we'll end up with like -2 plants when we run out of fabric, and we'll just say we're looking for plants most because their score is -2, and fabric we've got enough to make as many as we want. Well, not as many as we want, but we need all of the other resources more, is kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe? So I'd like to try that, and then when we have multiple things in here, I think we just round robin it. Right? So we just kind of go left to right, and we assume that like we try to iterate maybe every loadout. Or sorry, we do like iterations of the loadout. So even if we run out of cloth fabric before we get to the blue band-aid here, I think we just keep going. And we just iterate the loadout until we run out of stuff. That seems kind of reasonable. Then we'll have a bunch of negative numbers everywhere, and we can just sort by the negative number. That's like a maybe. That's a maybe. So let's kind of try that and see what happens. So this is gonna be like consume stash from loadout or something. Consume stash to make loadout. Then it's gonna be like sort by like calculate score or like collect scores, I guess. Then maybe that's it. Then sort, I guess. Maybe it's just like that. Maybe that's the whole plan. And then we can play with it and see if it feels like shit. That seems kind of reasonable, no? Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's see what happens. Okay. So, first of all, do we have everything we need here? So, if we look at our... Oh yeah, we're looking at the preprocessed JSON. So we know we have this components field, which has ID quantity for everything. Which we must already be iterating in the Zig stuff. Because we know how many of each thing we need already. So I guess whose job is it to iterate this? It's probably like when we generate this component list. I think that maybe we'll just write down the score at the bottom here. That seems reasonable. So in here, can we do something like in the card, we can just write down here maybe the score as well. And where are we here? This score needs to be here, I guess. And then somebody's gonna be mad that we're not assigning that. I don't know, we're kind of figuring this out. So this is in regenerate components. So for each item in our component list, we want a score. So I guess that means that before all this, we're gonna want like scores is calc item scores or something. I don't know yet. And then this is probably a hash map. So this is like scores get item ID or else unreachable. Probably something like this. So this probably takes in an allocator to make the hash map. And then everything else, I guess. How does this builder work? So here, by here, we have this component quantities as a hash map of string to U32. So I think this goes in here. This is kind of like the stash. And we probably want to like clone this thing. I feel like. Not 100% sure here. But I feel like we're going to be like pulling from this stash as we are... We're going to be like modifying the values in here as we consume the stash, I think. And is that everything? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know, man. I guess maybe we do the clone inside, to be honest. This is like initial stash. And then this is like initial stash clone. There we go. Because we can't modify things that are passed as arguments in this language. Surely this has to be tried. And then this scores needs to return, I guess, another string hash map. I32, probably. Okay. So this is gonna be something like this. I don't know. I guess like this. Completely trash language. When are you gonna switch to a real language like Nim? I'm happy with the Zig for now. I do feel like at some point I probably should try playing around with all those like other C like languages, but whatever. I like this. I'm happy for now. I guess so the initial stash can only have positive values, but our output does not. So it's actually kind of I feel like we actually return the stash here. And that kind of means that we need this to be like this. And we kind of need to like iterate over the initial stash elements. And like put those in manually because we need to typecast them. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Who knows? I think that it's okay for us to reference these strings directly without copying them. I think that's fine. Maybe it's safer to duplicate them. I think that, you know, this is technically a waste, but it saves a headache later, so we'll just duplicate it. Fuck it. You can't stop me. And then here we just kind of do a little int cast, I guess. I tried Zig, but it didn't feel much like C. I think it does. I think like how do you call this? Spiritually, it feels like C to me. But you're right that like on like a syntactic level or something, it doesn't really. But to me, like in terms of like how I write the code, it feels very much like how I would write the code in C with a little bit of extra niceties. At least compared to other languages I've tried, right? Like compared to like Rust or C++, right? It's way closer to like I think I'd probably like put on like a number line like it's probably there's some line somewhere that's like assembly C++, like Rust goes here, and then like Python is over here somewhere. Probably like Java and Go are in the middle over here somewhere. I don't really know what this line is, right? But this line is like something like how high level am I writing versus like there's multiple axes here, but like also like how insane, like how absurd. Well, no, because absurd like C++ moves over here somewhere. But anyways, Zig feels like it's like over here on this line, where this line is like not really well defined. I don't even have an axis. Just like if I were to, it's like a, you know those tests where they're trying to test if you're like fucking stupid or not, and they're like, here's 3 things, what's the 4th thing, and they don't give you a category. Like on this uncategorized line where I have no real metrics other than vibes, Zig goes here. Do you feel more capable in Rust or Zig today? Probably Zig. Zig is very freeing. It depends on what you mean by capable. I think I'm like pretty good at Rust. But I think that Rust itself is very limiting. By design, right? That's kind of like its goal. So like in terms of being able to like pump stuff out, Zig's definitely just easier. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Why is this thing angry? No field name score in drag HTML widget. Oh, oops. This goes here. Okay. So here we build out an initial stash. And then what we want to do is we want to start walking. We need our loadout, which I think is in global somewhere in this. Yeah. So this is kind of like our loadout. And I guess we're going to do some sort of loop here where we iterate the loadout. And in here, I don't really know what we're going to do yet. You've done way more Rust in like 10 years? Yeah, but like way less, like way more on and off, right? I've written a lot of Zig while streaming, which allows me to kind of do more per day than I would have of Rust. But like time wise, yeah, I've like written Rust for longer. But I mean, like Rust is a much more complicated language, right? Like Zig, I feel like I picked up Zig like in a few weeks, like in terms of like being proficient in the language. It's very simple and things just kind of work the way you would expect, which is very nice. Rust things work the way you would expect, but they're complicated. C++ things just don't work the way you expect, and they're complicated. C doesn't work the way you'd expect, and it's simple. That's kind of the four corners. Rust doesn't work the way you'd expect. That's fair. It works the way I'd expect, usually. Expect it to work. Okay, got it. You don't expect your code to work? Makes sense. Shut up. What am I doing here? So we are like, I guess, trying to pull this item out of the stash, probably. So it's like we need some function that will like recursively, I mean recursively maybe not, but probably for our first implementation, will like recursively call itself and like modify the stash on its way down until it gets what it wants. So this is almost like we're like at each thing we're like make item or like yeah, construct build item, like craft item, I guess is kind of the nomenclature that makes sense here that doesn't conflict with programming terms. But here I guess we pass the item in. So here we have like our item map and we're looking for entry key pointer here. Something like this. And then when we craft this, we're like, here's our item. And we probably say how many of them we want to craft. And we must have to pass in our stash. Right? Then I think that's probably enough, right? So this thing, all he's really doing is looking at, he's really just updating the stash. That's really all he's doing here. Sure. So I guess this can just error out. Surely he can error. And I guess it's like we iterate the components that this thing needs. Oh, we missed the multiplier. Quantity is what we'll call it. Right, so in here, it's like each component okay, so how if we have enough in our stash, we need to get the component ID here. Probably like how do you like get and then modify it after get pointer component quantity is this component okay, so we have this many of the thing and we probably have like remaining somehow. So how many so I guess if we want quantity is 5 and component quantity is 3, we need to like consume this 3 and then make 2 more. So this is like remaining is going to be quantity saturating sub of component quantity, I think. And then I think it's like component quantity dot star subtract equals like saturating sub quantity, I think. But this can be negative. So I think that like we don't go negative unless we can't craft it. Right? The negative things, it should only be the stuff at the bottom of the tree. I think. Well, let's think about this. So I'm trying to make some bandages. Bandage. And I have, let's say I have 2 of the flowers, right? 2 of these, and 0 of the durable cloth. So here, I think I want to end up with -2 durable cloth, which is made up of -18 fabric, or -28 fabric. Okay, but what if I had 1 durable cloth in this scenario? What do I want? So if I have like 1 durable cloth, I think I want to end up with -1 durable cloth and -14 fabric because it takes 1 fabric to craft the 1 durable cloth. Yeah, okay. So that means that so but hold on. What if I have 1 durable cloth and 14 fabric? This is perfect, right? So I think in this case, it's like we only want the middle nodes to go negative if they can't be crafted. Right? Okay. So it's like okay. So we take the amount that we can get. I feel like I want to use ifs here. I feel like there's some way to mathematically do this easier, but I can't figure it out. So if quantity is greater than component quantity, we do component quantity is equal to 0, and we have remaining here is quantity minus component quantity, right? Okay. Then we do something with remaining. So like so I think it's just like craft with item with like the component. I don't know, man. Something like this. And here, this is like how many we have to craft. And then, if this, like this should return how many. Like, you know, something like this? What if component quantity is already negative? I think this has to be capped with a 0. Yeah, there's something like if component quantity is less than 0, we don't want to touch it. I think it's like I haven't figured this out yet. There's something about this that doesn't work. Something about this doesn't work. I think it's like if component quantity is greater than 0, I feel like we do one thing. Then once we've done whatever we're doing, then we're in like the saturating case. So here we start with like remaining is however much we asked for. Then if component quantity is greater than 0, we do remaining gets like subtracted by however many we can pull. Yeah. So this is going to be like the maximum of however much we're asking for and however much we have available. The minimum of that, actually. Okay. Yeah. So now remaining is the interesting piece here. So if remaining is 0, we continue. We're kind of donezo here. And now we're in the case where we need to pull more. So this guy's going to try to craft items. And he's going to adjust component quantity to go negative based off of... I think it's just like this. So he crafts the items, and then he subtracts remaining to get it into the negative based off however many he pulled. That feels like almost right. I might be missing something, but why don't you get all the total resources for the item you want to craft, then do the subtraction of what you have need. So this is kind of the case that I'm looking at. So green bandage. We have 2 plants in our stash. We have 1 durable cloth and 14 fabric. So with what we have here, we can make 2 bandages, right? Because we only have 1 durable cloth, but the second durable cloth can be made out of the 14 fabric, right? Now, this is only one of the cases where this works. We also have the case where we have 0 durable cloth and 28 fabric. And we also have the case where we have 2 durable cloth, and 0 fabric, right? And so what I'm trying to figure out is like, what do we need, right? So the idea of like what we need when we have 1 durable cloth and 5 fabric is kind of interesting, right? Because we can make one bandage out of the first plant and the first durable cloth, which would bring us down to 1-0 here with 5 fabric. But then to make the next plant, the next bandage, we need either 1 durable cloth or what is this? 9 more fabric, right? So that's what I'm trying to figure out is like, as we like iterate through these things and try to make them, I think that if we just kind of try to construct everything by kind of walking the tree when we need more stuff, we will eventually get to the point where we have -1 and -9 in our graph, and then we can use that as like the scoring for how much we want each of those things. That's also most of what I'm looking for here. And so I don't know if there's like some better way to do this, but this is the only thing I can think of that looks like semi-sane. Or I shouldn't say the only thing, there's just the first thing. This is wrong. I think this works. I don't know, man. There's some like casting shit that is code smell here. I guess maybe remaining if everything is I-32 here, maybe that is easier everywhere. Yeah, I think that kind of works out. Then this thing has to be clamped to 0 probably. But remaining should always be bigger than 0. So I think this incast is fine. That's a little better. There's like a non-zero chance that this all works. But I mean, if overall you need 50 fabrics to craft the end result being 2 cloth plus an item. But I'm trying to say, how do you know you need 50 fabrics at the end? That's kind of the question that I'm trying to answer. Is like, how do I know how much of each thing I need relative to the other stuff I need? Right? I think that's the question I'm trying to answer, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I would like to print the scores now. Or I guess we have the scores and we're just going to render them already. So maybe we can just refresh and see what fucking happens. We might be infinite looping. It kind of feels like this page is not rendering. So can we put a limit on the depth here? Oh, wait, we're not breaking out of this ever. That's the problem, is this is a while true that's not ever getting exited. So here we need to check if stash empty break. This is what I'm looking for. So this guy's going like var iterator stash iterator. I guess this can really be value iterator here. While iterator next, we have some val, and then if val is greater than 0, we still have stuff in here. But if we made it to the end, then our stash is empty. That feels kind of right. And then this can be while not stash empty here. All right. Let's see if that does something. Okay. Okay. Wait. This is looking. Well, this looks wrong because all of these scores should be 0, I think, in this case. I'm not really sure. So let's say I have. Oh, also these need to get regenerated when these components change as well. On stash drag, can we call ooh. I'm just gonna refresh for now and figure this out. These scores are like not taking these numbers into account at all. This is not working the way I want at all. Okay, so let's set this to 1 and 1, which is kind of hard with the sensitivity of the slider, but whatever. So I think that here we should get a score of 0. So what's going on there? Okay. Hold on. Inspect. So this is. Here we go. Okay, so I think that this is tracking correctly. So this means that I wanted to see the item ID field here. Component configuration. Oh, yeah, this is right. So this guy should say in him his item ID somewhere. Just to check that that is correct. Great mullion. So he knows. He knows. And so that means that this scores thing is assigning incorrectly. Right? That's the only thing that could make sense here. So let's look at this again. So can we look at the initial stash? I guess what we should do here is let's just kind of say, oh, you know what? This stash empty thing, I feel like should only be on the outermost layer. Yeah, wait, hold on. We're doing a bunch of extra work that we don't want to. Oh no, craft items is what we're looking at. Wait, that's like, right. Craft item. No, wait, this feels kind of right. I mean, there could easily be a bug in here, but am I using the wrong ID here somewhere? No, items only used for components. Okay, let's just print some stuff. Crafting this. Component this. Let's just start here. And he's like, I want this many of them. Okay. So also let's do this. We'll say at the top, calculating scores. Okay. So somewhere we say, where's this calculating scores going? Calculating scores here. And we're crafting herbal bandage from these things. Crafting herbal bandage. Component 1. Component 1. It looks almost like the herbal bandage is like recursing into itself for some fucking reason. Which is making me concerned. Yeah, wait, what the fuck? Like, it seems like every time we do this... Oh, no, wait, maybe... So he goes into... He looks at the durable cloth. And then he looks at the Great Moline. Why is he doing this more than once? Because the stash isn't empty yet? Okay, if I put stash to empty to 0 here, like all of these components to 0, the fact that this is going at all is confusing, right? Because at this point, we should have an empty stash, I feel like. So we should never try to craft anything. Right? Because in here... Can we print here? Have this many of this thing. Because I'm missing something here. I feel like we shouldn't try to craft shit. What am I doing wrong here? SD, my bad. Have fabric. So each one of these is somehow only consuming 1 fabric? Which is crazy. Because here, we're probably forgetting to multiply by something. I mean, he also thinks that I have 14 fabric. He's looking at the need, not what I have, which is interesting as well. But okay. So here, I think this should be times however many we're trying to make? No. Maybe this is supposed to be like this? So for however many times we're trying to make this thing, we do it again. Maybe this whole thing could just be multiplied, but I don't think so. He still seems to be only consuming 1 fabric per, though. Which is just confusing. I think we're for... So this needs a multiply. This should be... Times component... Quantity. But then what is this versus this? This is like component stash. And does that make sense everywhere? Component stash here. We take as many as we can and we remove it from the stash. Otherwise, it's like this. Okay. Let's take a look at that. He's still only using 1 fabric per. Which seems fucking wrong. I'm missing... Why? So... Can we... Oh, this is kind of fucky. Maybe I think this outer loop might be in the wrong spot. This is maybe like 4, 0 remaining here. We try to craft the inner thing however many times we need to. It might be something like this. But this is the same thing as multiplying by the remaining quantity, I think. I think that's the same. I mean, it's clear. It's clear that it's looking at this 14 somehow, which is also fucked. Oh, maybe we're missing the case where there's no components. Yeah, so we're missing the base case here, I think. Right, because you can't craft fabric. So there's probably some special case here. No, yes. Okay. So if this thing can't be crafted, I think it's just this, no? So we just like subtract the stuff that we asked for and then give up? Oh yeah, we're also missing something. Hold on. Craft item is assuming that you're crafting it, which is also maybe not what we're trying to do here, which is probably not helping. Right? This should be like consume item from stash. Yeah, that feels more like what's supposed to be happening. So when we are iterating our loadout, we consume the item from the stash. And here we need to check first before we start trying to craft it. This is all trying to craft it, right? Trying to craft. But we don't necessarily have to try to craft it. So this loop was just fucking wrong? Yeah, this is fucking stupid. Okay. So we look. Yeah, this was working on the wrong shit. I think. I think all of this was like almost right. It just needs to be out of the components part. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so we're like item stash amount is this. This is, we already have the item. And if this thing is greater than 0, we take as much as we can. Okay. Then, if remaining is equal to 0, we're done. But yeah, yeah. So then we try to craft. So for each component, we pull as much as we can from here. Wait, this might be right. Trees are fucking hard, man. Here we go. Is that right? And then here we say, okay, we made this many more things than we could handle. That feels maybe right. Except now this thing's fucking pissed. Invalid ID somewhere. What's he pissed about here? Crafting herbal bandage. And then he's saying that there is no herbal bandage in the stash. Oh, that's true. Because... Oh, interesting. So our stash needs to contain the loadout items as well, which it doesn't right now. So the initial stash needs also the, like... I guess we just assume that they're not in there. Which is wrong. I see. So we just dodge this for now by assuming that we're making each thing. Which is fine. It's the only way we can dodge this for now. Okay, wait. So this is almost right now. So if we have one durable cloth, let's say we have 2 durable cloth, but 3 flowers. It's fucked. 2 of each. It's fucked. It's like that these aren't having an effect on this at all. So I'm kind of... I feel like our initial stash is wrong. Yeah, because we're looking at the required amount, not the stash amount. Yeah. So we need to build the stash manually, I guess. So maybe this guy just builds this stash here. So what is he fuck this initial stash thing? And he's iterating over global, stat. Nope. I don't know. What the fuck is in this thing? Items. These are the items we're looking for. And for each of these items... No, we're looking at stash quantities here. Okay. Does that look a little bit better? He's mad because... He's getting some invalid ID thing. Interesting. Who's returning invalid ID? I think Chrome will give us the actual backtrace. No. He will not. Unlucky. Unlucky. Just finished documenting clocks bells. Feels good. Hell yeah. Yeah, what am I doing wrong here? I feel like... it's... No, I don't know. I have no idea. So I guess we just need to start, like, logging shit. I guess. So this is in consume item from scratch stash. He's getting invalid ID. I guess the thing to do here is just failed to get this from stash. I guess this is the play. We just have to write it down so that we can know. It's the fix. And this will at least give us a fucking clue. Failed to get fabric from stash. I mean, we should have fabric in the stash based off this. Is it that our stash hasn't been updated by this point? Like, whose job is it to update the global? Yeah, it's here. Stash quantities is updated here. No, this is get. Who updates it? Who puts things in the stash quantities? Oh, because it might not be in there. I think that it's only tracked if it's non-zero. So I think that this is a normal fucking failure based off the way that we're storing our data. I think if we fail to get a stash entry, then we should just replace it with 0. I think. But at this point, we should have constructed the stash based off of... Yeah. So here also, we should do like this. We should update the stash with all of the components of our items as well. That's fine. So these gets pointers should be get or put. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so same here. This one is from item map, and this is actually an error. Yes. We're fucking getting somewhere. Okay, now we're iterating forever. So I think what's happening here is our I think that there's things in our stash that are not getting consumed by the loadout because we are storing stuff in the stash and not removing it when we don't need it anymore. So checking stash empty is not quite right. I guess this needs to be limited. We should not just iterate the stash. We should actually iterate the like required components somehow. And be like, if all of the things that we need are non-zero. I guess we can just have this guy consume item from stash. This could return a bool. And then this could return true. Or something. And then we can return false down here. Well, there's some way to like bubble something up here, probably. Right? So it's like, as we consume from here, if like all negative. If it's more like this actually. So here we go like all negative is false, and then like all negative or equals this thing. And equals? Hold on. So this guy is going to return true or false if what? He had if nothing that if he didn't if all remainings were like greater than 0. So he returns true in the case where I guess false here is what we want to return. So false in the case where we're not done. Yes. True in the case where we had to make it from scratch. And then here we do something like all true. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know yet. Count true is 0. I don't know. If this, the count goes up by 1? I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm doing. Then it's like, return count true is equal to item components. Okay. I don't know yet. It looks so like what is our true and false case here? That's what we have to like actually think about here. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to break out of this loop when every single item that we used is negative. Probably. So that's like here. We get past this remaining case, this thing is going to end up being negative, right? And here we want to know, well, this isn't even right, actually. This only goes negative if the thing below it went negative. So this returns true if the thing underneath went negative. Okay. But like by how many? So maybe this returns like for this item, you know, how far, like what's the new value? Maybe that's all we do here. Is that the play? Just everywhere? We return how many things are in the stash now? And then how does that play into this? I have no fucking idea. I feel like this is easier if we iterate the remaining components here. I'm sure that there's some way to math this out better. I just am too stupid to find it. So for each time we go through this thing, we kind of say like any negative is false. Here, if, you know, component amount is this, if component amount is less than 0, any negative is true. And then if any negative here, we say that we need to go negative. We need to go negative here. But that's not quite right either. No, I think it is. Uh, mm, fuck. So if we are using up a bunch of fabric, say we have like 40 fabric and we're trying to make some durable cloth. Oh yeah, then there will be no negative from the fabric, and so we won't decrement durable cloth anymore, which is fine. Okay, wait, maybe that's right. So then here at the top level, this is like while any positive is what we're trying to do here. And uh I guess it's kind of like this. Yeah. If component amount is greater than 0, any positive is true? That feels like maybe close to what I'm trying to do. Looks like this is like not breaking out though. Is it possible to like get my console up? No. Can we do... Let's just limit this for a second. And IDX is less than 100. Just to make it so that this actually fucking breaks out of the loop. Because we're clearly doing something fucking stupid. Okay. So we're not printing anything? Hello? Shouldn't like... Also, like, shouldn't we be doing something here? Like, why is just... Oh, maybe there's nothing in the stash. Oh, wait. Okay. Huge. Okay. Let's bring in a band-aid. Okay. And now nothing interesting is happening. All the scores are just fixed at 0. So we're doing something fucking stupid. Something stupid. So computing scores, component ID, fabric. Okay. Can we print here? Okay. Need to craft this thing. Okay, so he does think that he's got to craft a bunch of shit, right? He's like, I need to craft great mulline, I need to craft durable cloth. Then he's like, I'm making this thing out of fabric. Okay. So then in here, I guess here we need to say like, or item components len is 0. Like, if we can't craft something, we need to like consider ourselves at the end of the fucking loop. This is closer. Yeah, so if I say I need if I have one of the durable cloth, but I have 2 of the plant, this is getting like differenced here, right? That's good. right? So I'm like, here, if I have 5 of these, I need to have 5 of these, 1 and 1. This is kind of like making sense. And then if I like bring these closer, these will become kind of closer together until at 5, 5. At 5, 5, they're even. Okay, so now the problem is the fabric thing. I don't know why this number is so big now. Because this should be 1. Because, okay, here we go. So here's like, I need 14 fabric, and then if I bring this down, now he's like, I need a lot more fabric, versus if I have durable cloth and not one of these, then he's like, okay, I only need enough to make 1. So the only problem now is that we're going 1 too far on everything, I think. Right? This should have a score of 0, and this should have a score of 0 right now. So what's going on here? We're going 1 too far. Why? Why? Because it's any negative should maybe be like any positive. Like 0 might be an exit case. Right? So here we're looking for... Maybe this is a greater than 0 here. Unreachable executed. Whoa. Why does that change anything? That's confusing. Maybe there's like an underflow somewhere? What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, so he goes iteration 0, gotta craft a Great Maline. Then we're on iter 1, gotta craft a Great Maline, and then he gets a little bit mad. So who's hitting that unreachable? Not this. It could be an int cast here. If somehow... Well, component quantity should always be greater than 0. This actually feels like it doesn't need to get int cast at all. Yeah, it doesn't. So that kind of solves one potential crash point. I guess remaining here could be less than 0 somehow. Can we do this? Have we fucked this up somehow? Need to craft 1 Great Maline. Okay, so that seems fine. Is this underflowing? Surely not. I guess we can just start, like, bisecting. Huh. I wish we had better back traces here. I guess on unreachable, we get... Oh, wait, I think maybe... Is this where chromium does better? Let's try that again. So here we threw in one of those band-aids where everything is fucking rendered bad, but... Wait, this is just working. So it could be something to do with the way we've configured these? Aha, there we go. But this is also not helpful because he's just telling me that it's in regenerate components, which is like way too high. Way too high up the stack. Very interesting. Can we do a little bit of this as well? This might help us diagnose where we are getting lost. Okay, so that's interesting. So he is getting out of this every time he calls it. So maybe the interesting part is here. Looking at this component, maybe? And then we have iteration here. Maybe it's actually a problem somewhere else. Wait, is this just exiting fine? Maybe this is my confusion. Oh yeah, it's not crashing in here at all. Wait, okay. Oh. Some things just might not be scored. Ah, wait. That's interesting. Wait. This looks good. Okay, so if we have 2 and 2, then the score is 0. Everything is even. But if we have two more of these grape Malin, then we have -2 cloth, -28 fabric. Wonderful. What if we have 14 fabric now? 16 fabric even. So now we are short 1 durable cloth, and to make the second durable cloth, we're short 12 fabric? Wait, and so if we bring this up to 28? Everything scored 0? Wait, this is really good. -14, -1? This feels wonderful. Okay, can we bring in like a more complex case now? Because this is starting to look kind of right. So let's say we want to make these bandages as well. Which, when I click that, something went wrong and he didn't add it. Because index out of bounds somewhere. Which is interesting. On untracked item clicked, index out of bounds. So it's gotta be in regenerate components, right? It's gotta be. It's gotta be. No. Oh, wait. Click this guy? Wow, maybe not. Okay. Yeah. So it is in regenerate components. What is happening now? Index out of bounds is so confusing. Where am I even indexing? I assume that this is in calc item scores as well. If I just do like return stash here, I assume everything just works, but all the scores will be 0. Perfect. So somewhere in here, we're indexing out of bounds. But am I crazy in that there's no indexing in any of this? That's kind of interesting. So he's doing it on the Great Malin shit, the get, but this get is like a hash map lookup. So it seems kind of wild that there's an out of bounds there. But like, I guess maybe if there's something wrong in there. Can we do this? Consuming item ID here. So we're going into Great Maline in here somewhere. We're not getting to this because it doesn't say need to craft. So it's somewhere between these. I guess it could be here if we're returning early. Could be. All good, we'll say. Oh yeah, so he's getting to all good here. Are we like finishing constructing the stash? Like consume item from stash. Oh, we do have the finished here, which isn't getting logged, which is interesting. Looking at subcomponent. Like this, maybe? Oh no, we have this right here. Component ID here. Wait, what's happening? So we, at the top level, looking at Great Maline, looking at antiseptic, consuming antiseptic, need to craft antiseptic. We're looking at chemicals, need to craft chemicals, finished chemicals, component ID, Great Maline, all good. I would like to say, when we say all good, can we say for who? So it looks like we start looking at antiseptic. We're like, antiseptic needs chemicals and flowers. We finish the flowers and the chemicals, but we don't finish the antiseptic. Right? We're not getting down to here. Which is very confusing. Can we do this? Iter this. So this is going to be item ID iteration index. Okay. So we're like antiseptic iteration 0. We start making 10 chemicals, so we iterate through the 10 chemicals. Then we have enough Great Maline. How confusing. Right, so this antiseptic thing is... It seems like he's making it through all of these iterations, right? Finished iterating. For this thing, this iteration. What the fuck is going on? Okay, so we do finish iterating antiseptic as well. So we like managed to get all the way to here, but don't log this? Like, hello? Like, how are we possibly logging this and not this? Like, or this, right? We're not getting to antiseptic iteration 1, and we're not getting to finished. So it's like, if I move this down, do we not see that log? And if so, what the fuck? No, we still see this. Hello? Hello? Wow, even more confusing. This print itself is fucking up. Is it in this print that the buff print is going out of bounds? That would be crazy. But it really does feel like that way. Oh, is the map changing? Is like the map entries changing as we iterate? This might be a little invalid memory access, huh? Yeah, because we recurse into this thing and we call get or put So as soon, like here, right, this is not valid at this point. So we kind of just should put all of this in braces so that we don't accidentally fucking use it. Yeah, my bad. My bad. Then this guy's mad, which is fine. So, uh, item count is stash get get pointer. There we go. There we go. There we go, baby. All right. So if I increase this, we do see these scores of the durable cloth and this fabric all increasing. And if I increase this, everything goes up because this guy needs all of the same thing and more. Perfect. If I say I have like a fuck ton of fabric, then I feel like this score being positive is a problem. Because I feel like we should be iterating until this bottoms out, and then we should be saying that we need more of everything else. So there's a problem in here somewhere. I guess he's only looking one layer down. And it is true that all of these guys are all of like the direct children of this guy are 0 or negative. Right? So this is like the wrong exit condition. Right? The exit condition needs to be that anyone down the chain is still positive. So we need to go back to this exit condition, which was hard to get right. So it's like I guess this guy needs to return multiple pieces of information, maybe? So this guy needs to return, all negative. Or like all components fully consumed or something. Right? Which will only return true if every single thing below it also returned true. Okay. Then what? He also wants like any component like craft success maybe, something like that. So like whether or not any of the components were fully consumed, I feel like this is what we want. So if any component were fully consumed, then we have a problem. Or maybe like any components overconsumed. Yeah, it's like this, right? So like if anybody that I need went into the negative, then I should also go into the negative, right? So this is for me, and then if all of my components were fully consumed, then we should flag that to our parents. Maybe. I don't fucking know, man. Okay, so this return is wrong now. So if remaining equals 0, I think it's like all components fully consumed is false. Maybe this is like if remaining is equal to if item got value pointer is equal to 0. No. I think this is just false. And then any component, I think this is just double false here if we are all good. That feels kind of right. Then I guess we have our ret here is like whatever the fuck consume item info, and it's like any components overconsumed is false by default, and all components fully consumed is also false by default. And then like at some point we return ret. But like how does this get like updated? So it's like ret any components overconsumed, gets or equaled with component ret. If any of the subcomponents were consumed, he gets set to true. And then what about like, I don't know, man. Iter overconsumed. Iter overconsumed or equals this as well or something. This is like really bad. What? Okay, this guy is automatically overconsumed if there's no components to work with, I guess, which kind of solves this if here. And then we can say this, I guess. If this iteration overconsumed anything, then we overconsumed as well, and we flag that to our parents. What about if everything is fully consumed? I don't know if we need this, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know how to deal with this. So I think we'll just allow this to go over for now. I don't know what to do with this. Component info. If component info, any items overconsumed. I feel like this is like any positive is false or something. I don't know. We'll see if this guy escapes. No, this is still wrong. This is still wrong. I feel like maybe we need like a list of relevant stash pieces. And that just solves the fucking problem. So maybe when we like construct the stash, like in here, we should like ensure all stash entry, like recursively walk tree and set stash entries, right? And then we can go back to doing that like stash empty thing. So instead of looking at the stash quantities that we have stored in the database, we should look at only the ones relevant to our recipe. Maybe that's the play. So this we could go like items, and we just kind of like recursively walk this thing. That's what I was trying to say earlier. That seems pretty reasonable. My bad. So this needs to be a recursive thing. Add add recipe or something. Add item to stash or something. And this is like stash so we iterate over all the components and like stash get or put component ID if this is not in here, then we set it. So this is from like global stash quantities get component ID or else 0, I guess. Something like this. And then we need the like component item is like item. Hello? Oh, it's item map here. Here we go. Okay, and then here we call like add item to stash with the component item. There we go. Okay. Okay, this is like global item map get entry key pointer. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. And then now we're totally fine. Well, this thing's mad. Why? Probably an int cast on here. Probably. There we go. Okay. So now we can go while stash empty, we can go back to doing this. Or index is greater than or equal to 100 or something, just to cap ourselves on infinite iteration. Now consume item from stash, I don't think needs to return shit. I don't think. We'll see. But I believe we're chilling now. Oh, this guy still wants to know if his child was overconsumed, actually. He does want to know that. Okay. Let's try that. Okay, so this is good news, is that everything is negative. The amount that it's negative is consistent, right? So, okay, so in this case, this is wrong. This has to be wrong. Oh no, okay. So we can make a metric fuck ton of these durable cloths because we have 400 fabric, which means that we need way more great Malene before it becomes relevant. Yes. And then we're back to the problem where we're like overdoing it by one. But I'm okay with that, I think. For now. For now. Yeah. Yeah, so if I bring this up over the limit here, now we're going to say that we need more fabric. Nice. Okay, that feels kind of good. So let's bring back in the blue band-aid. And we need to refresh because I think it's always fucking broken. But now in this scenario, he's like, you need a fuck ton of chemicals because you can't make a single antiseptic. Because your antiseptics need the flour and chemicals, I assume. So if we start cranking up the chemical amount, this starts to go down, and then eventually we have enough chemicals. Oh, now chemicals is the dominating thing. So he's like, I need way more fucking cloth relative to this. So he's like, in this world where you have this many fabric and this many flowers, fabric is like your most needed thing. Okay. I do think that this is kind of behaving how I wanted it to. It does feel a little fucked up, but I think it's right. Let's look at, so how many, we need to look at the crafting tree a little bit. So antiseptic. This guy needs, oh, sorry, no. The antiseptic doesn't need the cloth at all. It's the blue band-aid. Sterilized bandage. So this guy needs 2 durable cloth and an antiseptic. So in this world, he's kind of saying, like, I can make okay. Here he's saying, I have enough fabric to make this, and I need more chemicals and more flowers. Then I bring in the other type of bandage, which uses up more of the fabric, which now says, okay, now we're like, to make these, we're kind of out of fabric relative to the amount of chemicals we have. It's crazy how much the chemical change is changing this, right? Because like chemicals becomes our dominant thing in making antiseptic. So this is a little bit concerning. I don't think this is a good answer to this question. Right? The idea that like in this scenario, I need 1,000 more fabric is crazy, right? It's like clearly that's not true. But I guess given the amount of chemicals I have, given that I have a fuck ton of chemicals, it's like all of these things we need more of if this is what we're trying to make. So maybe that's not like that insane. I wonder if it's something like we want to normalize the scores relative to the value of the thing. I wonder. Because, like, to me, the real problem here feels like the Great Malene. I mean, according to the calculator, that's clearly not true, right? As I crank up this Great Malene, it's not changing anything. Because the real answer is that I have enough chemicals to make literally like fucking like 200 bandages. Or 100 bandages or something. Huh. Interesting. So I don't think there's a bug. There could be, right? There could always be a bug. But like I think this makes sense. So from a sterilized bandage perspective, antiseptic you need 10 chemicals, right? And 2 grape Maline. So for a sterilized bandage, every 10 chemicals maps to 1 sterilized bandage, which maps to 30 fabric. Right? So here he's trying to make 69 sterilized bandages or something like that. This thing gets broken as well if I try to remove that thing. Yeah, I think there's like, I don't know why I can't remove this right now. Yeah, there's some fucking exit condition bug here. This doesn't make sense. Right? If I'm like, I want 10 of these and 1 of these. Oh. He's trying to somehow use 10,000 fabric. That's obviously wrong. That's obviously fucking wrong. Interesting. Looks like a bug. Yeah, I agree. There's also something going on where like infinite looping. If this gets too small. So there's something wrong there. I would like to look at the fucking console output while this is happening. But it's like blocking me from doing that, which is annoying. Chromium? Our fix to every problem? Like, what is it doing? Okay. So what did we do? We like... Oh, here we go. Somebody's getting an unreachable in there. Here we go. On stash size drag, we're getting an invalid character somewhere? What the fuck? Where the fuck was that? Weird. Oh, maybe it's a bug in this like widget. Okay. Well, at the very least, let's try in Chrome to bring back in this guy and see if we can like reproduce the same bug. So what was it? It was like oh yeah. Here, as we start cranking this up. Oh, now it's okay. Okay. I think there's a bug somewhere. I don't know what it is, but I think that the play here is to try to get out of fucking WASM land, right? Because it's like pretty clear that it's hard to debug this problem. And so I think maybe what we do is we try to do these same calculations in like a normal application and try to figure out what's going on there and then port back to WebAssembly after, which should be really easy to do. We can just like yoink the Zig code out because I would love to have like a proper debugger and stuff. So I think that's what we do is, at the very least, it feels like at the base level, this is working, right? When we're just trying to calculate bandages and bandages alone, definitely, like, this is behaving the way I expect, right? I say I want 7, I have 7 cloth, 5 of these, and this is like 2 offset. It's like close to being right. So we'll see. We'll kind of keep going at it tomorrow, I think, because we're at 2 hours for the VOD. But yeah, we'll come back and we'll try to improve it tomorrow, because I don't think we're not there, obviously. So we'll call it there. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, we stream most days 12:30 to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It's 3:15 now because our happy hour was cut a little short today. We're working on this Arc Raiders looting helper, which will, get finished at some point, and then we'll flip back onto our Wayland hand-rolled window manager, and after that we're going to attempt to write a phone operating system. That's the current plan, but who knows if we actually make it there. Yeah, YouTube link in the description, Twitch link in the YouTube description, support on Patreon, YouTube members, Twitch. Yeah, that's it. YouTube, peace out. Twitch, let's find someone to raid.